In this video, we're going to talk about 10 ways that the WWE can improve in 2026. How's it going, everybody? My name's Casey Cameron. Welcome back to Leg Slapper. We've got 10 different ways to improve the WWE in the next year. So let's just get right into it with number 10. Decide whether or not you want to be viewed as a sport or as a performance of athleticism. The thing I'm really talking about here is the WWE's quest for sports legitimacy. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to mimic the modern sports style of programming for the WWE. I don't have an issue with them being a full-blown soap opera style presentation for the show. I don't really care about the presentation, but what I do care about is consistency, because without consistency, that's when you begin to have fans, or you get new fans who begin to question a lot of the decisions you're making, and rightfully so. For example, in sports, wins and losses matter, and championships matter a hell of a lot. I think you could argue right now in the WWE, they don't matter. And I think you could also argue that realistically, you don't want wins and losses to matter, because that can actually hamper your ability to tell stories. But that's the thing. If all of this is performance, if all of this is just storytelling, then none of it actually matters. The problem is that the way you present the product is what colors the idea of fans. Is this a sport? Well, if it's a sport, why didn't Braun Breaker come out on Raw and say, "Where is my championship?" CM Punk, I shouldn't have a match with CM Punk for the championship. I pinned the champion in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. I'm as good as champion. He can't even compete today. The championship should be stripped from him, and I should be competing for it, or it should just be given to me, considering I'm the last guy who pinned the champion. And then let's talk about Julia and how her championship reign didn't matter at all. That United States Championship barely matters. If we want to do a sports presentation, make all the sports aspect matter. And I'm not saying that wins and losses have to be literally counted and tracked, but make note of it. Oh yeah, that guy has been on a bit of a winning streak. Oh yeah, that guy's been on a bit of a losing streak. These are things that you can use to tell stories if you want it to be sports. If you want it to be normal, this is just, we're having our fun soap opera storytelling with a little bit of flippy doo-dah, that's great. But then let's make those decisions. Let's consciously decide so that we don't have fans that are there for the sport presentation and fans that are there for the drama presentation. And then when WWE pivots toward one, then all of those fans are getting pissed off. Let's pick one and let's justify it and let's do it and let's stick to it. Number 9, balance your shows. I am someone that believes that there should be a split roster and there should be drafts. Again, especially if you want to have a sports presentation, there's no reason to not have 2 separate rosters, 2 separate shows that have minimal overlap. They have their own champions, they have their own storylines that don't overlap. Raw and SmackDown should be completely separate. The performers should basically never see each other unless it is required. And if you really can't think of anything to do over the course of a year with your roster, you need new writers, because every single year you can completely freshen up both brands by having a draft. And fans love the draft. At the end of the day, the draft is basically a meaningless thing. You are literally just telling everybody this guy's on Raw, this guy's on SmackDown. But it's a lot of fun for people. And again, if you're going to be going into the sports presentation, a draft makes perfect sense. I haven't really enjoyed the way they've done the draft in the last recent while. Maybe they do need to have a dedicated draft show where it actually is a draft. I don't know what the actual answer is there, but I would expect that people paid a lot of money can figure that out. And just as a little side tangent on there, when it comes to balancing your shows, that also applies to the men and women. I don't think it's any secret that the women have really carried WWE television over the last year, and they really don't seem like they're going to be getting the respect that should come with that. The fact that the women have carried TV and made WWE interesting, at least for me personally, over the last year, tells me that they've earned one of the WrestleMania main event spots, and I don't think they'll be getting it. So another thing that I would do is just, if one division, if one roster, if one championship is the thing that is holding up the entire company, then that is the thing that should be featured, regardless of who or what that is. Number 8, recapture the magic of the WWE. And what I'm saying here, it does sound a little hokey, it sounds a little, but this is a problem that a lot of people have with the current product of the WWE. It's the fact that they're making all these very big business decisions thanks to TKO, right? The problem is that WWE is slowly becoming or I guess you could say pretty quickly, becoming a very soulless company. The fact that they're pricing out normal families from being able to go to their show by having decent tickets being thousands of dollars, that's not really really good business practice. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, it is good business practice in that you're going to make a lot of money. But one of the big issues that I've seen crop up a lot as a talking point from people, and something that I definitely do agree with, is that all of this is actually going to create a group of fans that have no allegiance to the WWE. I remember when I was a kid and going to see WWE was a very attainable thing for the average family. I was able to go a bunch of times when I was younger. My family didn't have a ton of money, but I was able to go. When I got older, I was able to go. No problem. Now, people are being so priced out, it's insane. The prices for a show that's coming up near me is insane. And then there's all the stuff with Saudi Arabia, and there's all these other extra deals. And there's a lot of people that just don't love how business focused WWE is becoming. And it's kind of crazy that in 2025, with everything we know that has occurred with Vince McMahon or has allegedly occurred with Vince McMahon, the fact that there are genuinely people who want Vince McMahon back in the WWE because of all the decisions that are being made is shocking, striking, and actually a little unsurprising. I think WWE needs to recapture that magic, refocus on their audience, because if they're not careful, there's going to be no one that has nostalgia for the WWE, and there's going to be a lot of people that have nostalgia for AEW, which in the long run might create some really hard times for the WWE, especially if they're unable to put on interesting storytelling and good matches in the future. Number 7, give title shots to the people who have earned it in storyline. Now, I'm not just saying, like, oh, people love LA Knight, so LA Knight should get a world title shot. Though I do feel like that. LA Knight should get a world title shot because he has the fans behind him. What I'm saying is that if we have a superstar who is on a winning streak, and it could just be happenstance, like, oh, it just so happens that the way that we book things, they have won their last 6 televised matches. If that's the case, even if that person is not in a storyline for a championship, give them a championship match. It just makes sense. They don't even need to win. You could have shenanigans be involved. Just reward the people who are winning with the thing that they should be getting if they're winning matches. Sometimes WWE doesn't really make sense. Let's look at Ivy Nile. I know a lot of people are complaining about Ivy Nile in this most recent episode of Raw when Ivy Nile walked up and was like, that women's Intercontinental Championship belongs to me. And everybody collectively scratched their heads and was like, Ivy, I don't even remember the last time you competed on Raw, and I don't even remember the last time you won on Raw. So yes, less randomly giving people championships when they just seemingly ask for it, and more giving people championship opportunities when they've actually earned it. And again, even if they're not involved in a storyline with that champion, do it. You can have the storyline going on around that match. There should be things going on in the WWE that occur outside of direct storylines. Because regardless of whether or not a story is currently ongoing, a champion has to defend their championship. Number 6, let international stars cut promos in their native tongue. I don't know why WWE doesn't do this more. I think every single time they've done it over the past year has been incredible. I've really enjoyed the little promo packages that they've done for the Kabuki Warriors. I've enjoyed what they've done for Penta and the LWO. They had a great promo package for the LWO this year. And just let guys talk in their native language. If a guy's first language is Spanish and he can cut a mean promo in Spanish, I don't care that it's a different language that I don't fluently speak. I want to hear what he has to say. I want to hear how passionately he can say it in his native language or in her native language. It doesn't matter who it is. I want to hear them speak the way that they can do it best. That's not to say that they shouldn't cut promos in English. I absolutely think they should. And there's a time and a place for that. Bring them to the ring, have them cut promos, have them be involved in segments. But if you want them to be presented as badasses and you want to see what this performer is like from their home country, they're not a North American, well then give us a promo package that has been created. Let the performer have multiple takes to get what they want. And you could do this for an English promo as well. But I think if you have Asuka, let her cut promos in Japanese. You have Kairi Sane, let her do the same. You have Penta, let him cut promos in Spanish. I don't care what's going on. I just want to hear from these people, and I want to hear from them in their most confident form. I don't care if I have to read subtitles. I know a lot of people do, but I think that's one of those things is let us see how dynamic your performers are, how unique your performers are. If everybody's just cutting promos in English, we know everybody's here in North America doing the WWE thing. But if people are allowed to be themselves, man, you can really connect with people a lot more, even if they're not speaking the same language as you. Trust me, people can do it. And that's all before even mentioning the fact that it's not just North America that watches WWE. Number 5, emphasize part-timers less if they don't mean anything to overall stories. And I'll give a couple names like AJ Lee, Randy Orton, sometimes John Cena, and Rey Mysterio. Some of these people, they bring in, they involve them for like a month, And yes, short storylines can be really fun, but what they need to do is actually be involved in a story. If AJ, and I've said this in previous videos, if AJ Lee, who I'm a big fan of, is gonna come in and is going to be basically the team lead of War Games, well then she better be doing something in War Games. For a lot of that match, she was doing nothing. But that's the thing, is if you're a part-time performer, I'm hoping you're going to perform to the same level as the main roster. Otherwise, I don't really want to see you on the roster. And I don't mean that to be like, I don't want to see AJ, I don't want to see John Cena, I don't want to see Randy Orton, I don't want to see Rey Mysterio. I want to see all these people. I just want to see them be valuable members of storytelling. I want to see them do something. I want to see them be interesting. I want to care about these people. I don't like that over the last year, Randy Orton was on and off TV and I didn't care. And I currently don't really care. I would love to see Cody versus Randy, but I can't even think of a single feud I want to see Randy Orton involved with when he comes back. Rey Mysterio, other than Dom, who do I want to see Rey up against? No one really. Let's make these part-timers mean more. Number 4, give fan favorites a chance. I know this just sounds like, oh, push the guys I want pushed and bury the guys that I don't want to see pushed. No, what I'm saying is, listen, if there's a guy, and we're going to use LA Knight as the example, if there's a guy like LA Knight, the fans really love LA Knight, why don't we give LA Knight a brief run with the title? I understand right now we're in the middle, we're about to begin our journey to WrestleMania, and we have this whole John Cena thing that's kind of sidetracking everything. I get that. Let's let LA Knight have a run. Why not? Give him a month. It doesn't even need to be longer than a month. Let him win the title, have him lose it again, so fans can at least see what's going on. So the WWE can see what he can do, what the reaction is like, what the social media metrics are like, whether or not it actually is a good decision to do that. You're not gonna absolutely destroy the company by putting a title on someone that the fans really like for a month. Now, I will say with that, you obviously can't do this all the time. You shouldn't just give someone a championship because the fans really like that person. There needs to be a story involved, but absolutely be more okay with taking chances on performers that fans want to see succeed, because if you do nothing with them, eventually fans stop caring. Number 3, have more clean finishes. It is okay for people to lose. I promise you, we will be fine. WWE, 2025 for WWE was just the year of the run-in, of the crazy ending of, you know, no one needs to get pinned because we're gonna have a brawl, or no one needs to get pinned because these people are gonna interfere, or this guy will get pinned directly because these people interfere. People are allowed to lose. You don't look like a loser for losing. Now, you look like a loser if all you do is lose, but you're allowed to go out there and you can take losses. There is this kind of bizarre, ever-shifting hierarchy in fans' minds of where performers are and how many wins and losses that they could have without being needed to be thrust into something else. Randy Orton could probably go out there and lose every single match for an entire year, and people would still love to watch Randy Orton. I think he probably would be fine. But the same is definitely not true for a guy like Jey Uso. It's okay to lose. Just have more clean finishes. Jey can be in the middle of a run for the title. He wants it back. He needs to get it again. And Jey can lose multiple times, and that's fine. We don't need to remove him from the picture to have him go through this arc of, oh, I've lost my confidence, I can't win anymore. We don't need to do that. We have a lot of options. Let's just let people lose clean. It is fine. Performers will be A-okay. The other thing, let people tap out. I've noticed that a lot of people don't tap out as much. I know people tap out a lot to Gunther, but I think we should have more submission finishers. I feel like we've really gotten away from using submission holds for WWE finishes for some reason, and I feel like it's because of the out of nowhere thing everybody obsesses with. I think having a good submission hold really builds a lot of drama. Is that person gonna tap out? Is that person not gonna tap out? You don't look like a loser if you tap out to a move that will potentially break your body. If we're being presented as real sports, that is what submission holds do. They either stop you from being conscious, or they really, really hurt you to the point that you're about to break or tear something. Number 2, feature your titles more. I can't even believe I have to say that, but why are titles left off of WrestleMania? Why are titles not being featured at all? Why do I go to my girlfriend who watches wrestling with me every week and ask her who the United States Championship is for the women, and she can't answer that question? That's not good. And again, she loves Chelsea Green. Not good if she doesn't know confidently immediately who every champion is. That tells me championships don't matter. If you're not gonna care about a championship, if you don't wanna feature it, get rid of it. Why did you make these mid-card women's championships and then basically decimate your women's divisions to the point that we don't even really have real challengers for Jade Cargill? Feature your titles. That's it. Just show them. Just have them on shows. They don't need to be necessarily competed for every show. Just have them on a show. Have the champion there being like, I am the champion. Here I am. This is me. I am this champion. That is what we need. And like, I don't even know what to say. Like, sometimes it really really does seem like, man, dude, like the writers need help here. Just put a unique stipulation on some of your titles. If you really can't come up with unique ideas, with interesting storyline ideas, then attach new stipulations to titles. If you're the United States champion, well, guess what? At least once every 2 months, you have to have a last man standing match, because if you're going to be the United States champion, you have to prove that you will always get back up, that you will always get back on your feet to defend that thing. And if you can't do that, then someone else will be the champion. Or maybe you've got the Intercontinental Championship, and maybe the rule is every single week it must be defended on Raw in some kind of stipulation match. Now, obviously, that's a little too far, but you get what I'm saying. We can have ways to make these titles be featured. All you have to do is just want to feature them. And again, if you don't want to feature them, throw them in the garbage, get rid of them, because it just makes the performer look dumb. Like, I think Chelsea Green is awesome, but if she's going to hold the United States Championship and do nothing with it, then I don't want to see her as the United States Champion. Feature your titles. And number one, make your stories matter. My number one contention with WWE lately is when they're having their higher ups, their executives come out and say storytelling is the number one thing that matters. That is how we put stuff together. A lot of the time, WWE demonstrates that that is not the case, or at least that they have people who are not very good at that. Let me ask you, what mattered about the War Games matches? What was our story there? What mattered? Nothing. Basically, everybody was complaining about the fact that we're having War Games matches for the sake of having War Games matches for so long that the WWE literally had to come out and be like, oh, don't worry, guys. The fallout from War Games after the match, you'll know exactly what the WrestleMania main events are. And it's like, why do you need to tell me that? You shouldn't have to tell me that for me to then care about those matches. What you've done with your storytelling leading up to those matches is the thing that should make me care about those matches. The story going into the match should make me care about the match, should be the thing that gets my butt on the couch to watch that match. And yet we have executives being like, that's why you should watch. You'll know the WrestleMania main event. So I shouldn't even watch Survivor Series for Survivor Series. I should just watch it so that I know what the WrestleMania main event is. Let's make story matter, Triple H, everybody in WWE. I understand storytelling is difficult, but when you have a team of people who are actively working together to make these storylines, it becomes shocking that we can move to these different aspects and have no story going into them. We know War Games was coming up. Why was there no story for War Games? You had a whole year. Make story matter and start booking for people. And if you're going to do that, then at least make it make sense in storyline. There's no reason that LA Knight should be cutting promos where he's like, yeah, I can tell that you guys believe in me, but for some reason I'm not getting opportunities. Now, we don't want LA Knight to get those opportunities because he's not going to win those opportunities, but exactly, the performer should not be the one to say it unless it directly is a storyline. What that is a bad excuse for bad story. And you could even argue it's the same thing with the Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vaquer story. Did their match end up being awesome? Yeah, it did. Did their story matter? Was I watching that match to really, oh man, I wonder what's going to happen in the dynamic between Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella? No, I didn't care about that, and I don't think really anybody did. Story matters. If you're WWE, if you are the guy that revolutionized storytelling in this medium, focus on that. Make it better. If AEW is making more appealing stories than you are doing something horrendously wrong. And again, I'm not an AEW hater. I like AEW. I think they do a lot of fun stuff. But I think you can generally say, at least for the most part, WWE does a better job with the soap opera style, the soap opera aspect of wrestling than AEW does typically. That's my 10 list. I don't know how long this video will be. That is my 10 ways to improve the WWE in 2026. Tell me what you think. I want to hear how you would improve the WWE in 2026. Would a performer getting a run of the title be a thing that would improve it for you? Would restructuring the way that the rosters are between Raw and SmackDown, would that help for you? Do you think maybe even more overlap? Like, if you disagree with me, tell me. I'd love to hear what your ideas down below, because I love wrestling and I want to see wrestling be the best thing it can be. And if you've got some awesome ideas that you think I didn't include here, tell me. I want to hear from you. If you have an awesome idea that goes in direct conflict from what I said, tell me. I want to hear it. I'll catch you in the next one. I've been Casey Cameron. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.